Can you do it for your descendants that dream on your heart? Can you live a life where you're lit up, enthusiastic, and going for what you love and creating the world and the communities that you want here for the wider world? Hi, I'm Crystal Tottenham from Crystal Clear Coaching, and today I want to talk about impact. Impact on descendants. Yes, they might be biological children, but really, I'm just talking about impact on fellow human beings, on the planet, on animals, whatever speaks to you. What impact do you want to create in the world through your dreams? And can you see that any impact, any ways that you're currently self-sabotaging? And I am looking in the mirror here, like there's literally a couple mirrors around me. any ways you're currently self-sabotaging from those dreams, especially if you've got dreams to build communities, meaningful, kind communities, to help humanity, to help the planet, help animals, whatever is on your heart. Can you see, the more you sabotage yourself, the more you're sabotaging the impact you could have on all those people, places, things, animals. I'm not calling animals things. But it might be like the things that you want to impact is better systems that work better for humans. Uh, we are kind of obsessed with systems as humans. Uh, this computer system that I'm talking to you on is an example. The last few years has been the AI system coming in and trying to bowl everything down. Now, I think there's a time and place for anything in moderation. And this is just a side note on AI. Nothing can replace you, your beautiful, creative, consciousness, your soul, your heart. There is no machine that can replicate or replace that. I mean, it can attempt to replicate it, and you might have the tech bros trying to tell you that it's worth more or can compute more and it's smarter than you. And I dare say that is not true. It's not connected to the biggest system of them all. That's what we're all connected to as spiritual beings having a human experience. We are connected to everyone and everything. We are everyone and everything. In my studies, that is what I believe. You don't have to believe that, but just if we were curious and considered if we were connected to everyone and everything, and that the human experience is just this illusion of being separate, wouldn't that connectedness to the universe, to the world around us, everyone and everything, be much more powerful than a human creation of computers that basically mass plagiarizes the work of other humans? And on top of that, is that very system not also just one small part of the whole? Because it's still in the universe. It's still part of it. So it's part of us too, weirdly. But we've also lived without it until a handful of years ago. I mean, there was earlier versions of artificial intelligence. I'm not going to be here to debate exactly when AI began, but we definitely lived without it for a very long time. We have the willpower, the brain power, the cognition to do things without technology, and even just not just AI, just computers and technology that we've been sold that we absolutely need, that we can't do without. And it is increasingly harder in this day and age to choose to not engage in technology. I'm speaking to you on technology right now, and there's beautiful things about technology, but as with anything, it's finding moderation. Like, how do we use it to a point that it's useful to us and that it's not using us, if that makes sense. It's like um, that idea that if you're not paying for a product, especially in the subscription age, you are the product, because data is important to companies these days. So, isn't that interesting? Anyway, got a little sidetracked there on the AI train, but I think it's important that we all consider whether we want to keep our cognition and actually choose for ourselves and be sovereign beings that know how to make decisions for ourselves without consulting a computer that honestly doesn't always tell you the quote unquote truth. Like, sometimes there isn't a truth to gather on the internet, and it just says things that you want to hear. And it's like having a friend, one of those friends, like say you're a big celebrity and you just have a bunch of yes men around you that just tell you yes to everything, and you become a raging asshole because um, you think you're right about everything because everyone tells you you are, even though behind your backs they might be saying, oh, that guy today, what a dick, but we have to just say yes because he signs our paychecks, whatever it is. Do you really want to be that guy? Or do you want to be the person that treats others like a human being, and um and considers others' feelings, but also takes the time to sit with their own feelings so that they can understand them and move through them and become stronger because of it, and find solutions to any issues they might have with how they're feeling. Maybe there's something they need to do, and without feeling those feelings and moving through that, they won't gather the strength to be able to do it. I don't want to bypass my life, my human experience, uh, by trying to get all my decision making power out to a computer. Personally, I want to stay sharp. I want to play silly games with no one's phone in sight, no Google around, where we just test each other on who can remember that movie, that actor, um, who can, whatever trivia. Maybe you're really into sports. I mean, I don't get it. If you're into it, then that's great. Um, and maybe, you just know lots about a certain topic. And you could, you know, you could spout off a whole bunch of facts and be a fascinating conversationalist for, a couple of hours on that. Maybe you're actually an expert on a topic. And if only by choosing to speak on it, practice speaking on it, practice talking and learning about it, and using it, bless me, will you be able to? Oh, I knew there was another one coming. There we go. Only by choosing to use your brain will you be able to then use your brain and build it more, and then you could be put on the spot and come out with a beautiful speech, a beautiful story, something that really moves people. But if you were reading something off that's turned out of chat GPT, that's just that's just not it. I mean, in my personal opinion. Use it if you want, don't get me wrong. If you're finding it useful and it's saving you time, great. But do consider that all these data centers are using a lot of water, and water's kind of important to the planet and for our survival. And I don't want to be living in a world where our water is running out and we're all fighting over water because we chose to fund robot data centers instead of, you know, clean, drinkable water and food and shelter for human beings. So I know it's a pretty wild idea, but there we are. There we are. Yeah. So impact. What impact might you have on the world if you were to create your dream? If your dream had come true, what communities might be impacted? What younger generations, or even just maybe even older generations, you're impacting for the better? What might the world look like that's different? And how is your self sabotage currently holding that reality back from being possible? And again, I'm looking in the mirror here because if you've watched even a couple of my videos, even just this one, you can tell I'm not here to have small conversations. I think there's a lot of expanding we've got to choose to do as human beings at this, especially at this current time. Like, there is a lot of dis-ease and toxic, awful leaders in the world, and it's not it's not good. It's not it's not what I want for the world. And you know, we've got to each show up in our own way to choose to create a better world. If we all believe, oh, it's too hard, it's not possible anymore, it's just like we've gone too far, well, we'll probably make that be true, at least in our perspective. But there's plenty of other perspectives out there that still believe and they're still trying to turn it around. And some are doing great jobs. The new mayor of New York City, Zoran, what's his last name? I hopefully you know who I'm talking about. But Zoran is a legend. He was a taxi driver, and then he ran, and he's just figured out like ways to straight up just tax the uber rich that like have been evading their taxes since the dawn of their companies, basically. And as they should be taxed because they pay their workers so little sometimes, and like Amazon is a case in point. And if they pay like no tax, that is just wild. Like, I don't care. Like that's not, and yet people are dying in Amazon warehouses because a hurricane comes through and they're not allowed to stop working. Like, I'm sorry, what? Um, so I love seeing beautiful lit up leaders that get people, and I mean, you could call him very charming, but that's the way he shows up in order to show up, like, and show that all the things that um people were starting to believe weren't possible in government in the States are possible, and he's just done them like super quickly too. And I know that is the exception to the current norm of government in the recent years, but we need to like help ourselves in any way we can to see that a better future is possible. And in case you're right leaning here, I think you've already picked up that I am very much left leaning, um, left even leaning. Um, I don't even need the word leaning. I'm just left because I want every person, every sovereign human being on the planet to be able to, have food, shelter, water, have their basic needs met so they're not in survival mode, so that they then can create what they want to create in the world that will help humanity, the world, and the wildlife around us. And I just don't see any of that coming from the right in any way, shape, or form. And it's very, very obvious to me. So if you don't agree, I respect that you have your own sovereign choice. Um, and I also encourage you to consider uh, the less fortunate when you are voting. Voting at the booth, but also voting with your dollar. What kind of world are you really giving to? And I'm not really here to have political arguments. I just think if we're yelling at each other, we're not really necessarily going to get anywhere. We're just going to be on it about I'm right or you're right, or we'll just both believe we're right. And I don't think that's very constructive. Most of the time, it can be, but I prefer to have an open conversation and state our points, and maybe, like, I'm always open to hearing other sides of perspectives so I can have an informed decision instead of just hearing through my perspective that I've narrowed down, especially with algorithms these days. That might then mean that I have a completely biased opinion from me not seeing the whole picture. So, yeah. Anyway, consider your impact. Consider how you might be holding yourself back from your dreams. Consider how much better the world might be with you living your dreams, living in your light, even if it's just a dream for you and yourself. Because it's up to you to create that dream, to bring it to life. And if it excites you, if it lights you up, can you just play with it and be curious about it and maybe not take it so seriously so you can just go for it? I mean, me showing up here daily is kind of the easiest way I found to play with what I want to create in the world with my coaching. And I know there's more I want to do, obviously, with it, and I'd like to expand, but at least this gives me somewhere to show up and start. And I'm almost about to hit 200 YouTube videos over since October, I think I started. And that's very exciting and kind of wild. And I've also had to force myself to show up a lot of the time because I do it late at night, and I put it off, and really I'm tired and I just want to go to sleep. But then I have these awesome conversations, and I don't even know when I start sometimes where they're going to go. Like this conversation has gone in many different directions I didn't expect, but um, it just shows how much I've got to share and how much love I have for the world, that I want to keep showing up here daily, and eventually more eyeballs will see it, and hopefully we'll have a bit more of a back and forth conversation, and um, we'll get to create a better world in our own ways. Hopefully inspire each other to do that and tune into us first. Anyway, I'll leave it there for tonight. Much love. See you tomorrow.